So the big meeting, let's talk about that, because the Trump-Putin Alaska meeting that has now ended, however, with no deal that seems to have been reached yet. Donald Trump says there is no deal until there is a deal. However, Trump claims that there has been great progress that has been made with the meetings there. As Trump claims that there is some headway, but Putin says no deal until there is a deal. This is coming at a time where the two leaders have met in Alaska as far as the high-stake meeting is concerned, but neither of the world leader has offered specific details on the trajectory of the war. However, Donald Trump says that many points were agreed to, with just very few remaining, and he also told the reporters there that he will be speaking to his European leaders and counterparts and Ukrainian President Zelensky very soon. But Putin says that the two leaders have reached an understanding, but neither offered further details when it comes to the war's future. Trump's allies have cast U.S. presidents as a heavyweight negotiator who can find a way of bringing the slaughter to a close. However, Donald Trump has threatened very severe consequences if Putin does not agree to stop the war after the summit. Now, right after, as far as details that have been coming in of Trump-Putin talks, Trump says that he will call NATO and Zelensky. As far as these details that are now coming in, there has been several rounds of meetings that has been taking place. The high-profile summit that ended, however, without an agreement to end or even pause the brutal conflict, the largest land war in Europe that has taken place since 1945, which has raged on for more than 3 years.
I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate, and I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some of the great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott and John Ratcliffe, thank you very much. But we have some of our really great leaders. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here, and I think, you know, everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere in the world in a very short period of time, and we look forward to that. We look forward to dealing. We're going to try and get this over with.
Well, let's quickly introduce our experts also joining us here on the broadcast. Srinjoy is connected with us. Srinjoy, good morning. Patikrit is also connected with us, so is Sarah Spector. But let's get in a word from Srinjoy first. Srinjoy, both sides looking as far as when it comes to moving forward is concerned. Of course, there has been a lot of strain as far as U.S.-Russia relations are concerned. But when we talk about Ukraine, there was no participation on part of Zelensky here. How are we looking as far as the war's future?
Everyone was hoping against hope. Everyone thought maybe there was a very slim chance of perhaps there would be a ceasefire. Because in these 3 years, there have been, if you add killed, wounded, Russian, Ukrainian, civilian, there must be over 1 million casualties. That's a lot of people. And there was some hope, very faint hopes, that there would be a ceasefire. It hasn't happened. We don't know when it will happen. Though President Trump has said that there was progress, he hasn't said what the progress is. That's the first point. Secondly, as far as going and meeting Putin is concerned, well, Trump has divided up the Western alliance, because there are many leaders in Europe, and definitely Zelensky, who will not meet Trump. Now, Trump, by meeting Putin, has ensured, at least as far as the optics go, a cleavage in the West. As far as Putin is concerned, he has a foot in the door. He has gone and met President Trump. We don't know what the result is. But the question is, will President Putin give up the Crimea? The answer is no. Will he give up Donetsk and Luhansk and these places he has taken in these years, 3 years of fighting? The answer is probably no. So what does the West gain from this? What does Ukraine gain from this? Because there is a clear division here. The Russians are saying Crimea, Donetsk and Luhansk belong to Russia. The Ukrainians are saying the Crimea was taken away in 2014 and the rest in these 3 years of fighting. So there is a clear division. Both sides have very little to agree on. Yet there would, if as far as India is concerned and many others, if there is peace, at least it would be some benefit. There would be no bloodshed in Europe.
Yes.
And it would help the South because fuel prices, fertilizer prices, and food grain prices have shot up over these 3 years. Let's not forget that two of the largest producers of food grain in the world are Ukraine and Russia.
Well,
so
there are other countries in the world that have to bear the fallout as far as this war is concerned, because as of now there has been no results or positive results, not even a pause or a ceasefire that has been agreed upon mutually as we speak between the two warring nations, which is Russia and Ukraine. But when we speak of the Russian president, because he seems to have repeated Moscow's long-held position that it is sincerely interested in putting